What I show in this video, it will be easy for you to copy and try to replicate my approach, but what you must understand is this. My risk parameters, my position sizing, and my execution style will not be given to you. This is not trading advice and it's not investment advice. This is my view, my framework, use it however you want, but understand the game you are playing. The markets are pricing in almost a 90% probability of a rate cut of 25 basis points in the Fed meeting on the 10th of December. We see a similar sentiment in January of 2026. We're seeing a 66.6% probability of a cut with a 25% probability of a further 50 basis point cut from the current rate. This is supported by the Fed's dot plot. As we can see, in 2025, 2026, and 2027, we can expect lower rates. Rates proceed to stay the same through 2027 and 2028, and then have a smaller drop in the long run towards 3%. We have another supporting factor here, which is the economic projections of the Federal Reserve Board. We can see in here that the unemployment rate is expected to come down. Change in real GDP is also expected to come down in 2028, however, have a run to the upside in 2026 and 2027. Inflation is forecasted to come down from 3% to 2% by 2028, and core PCE inflation is expected to come down from 3.1% to 2% as well. The federal funds rate is expected to come down from 3.6 all the way down to 3.1 in 2028. All of these factors are suggesting further rate cuts by the Federal Reserve, which is beneficial for silver and a negative factor for the dollar. Another factor we can consider is the real rate in comparison to silver. Back in 2022, silver collapsed roughly around 30% as real yields surged. Now we're entering the opposite regime. Inflation is sticky, growth is slowing, and the Fed is concerned. That's a real rate setup that silver thrives on. And this is happening with US debt now over $36 trillion and rising. That's fiscal dominance. It is a structural monetary debasement. And smart capital is rotating, and they have been for a few years now. Silver is not just a monetary asset anymore. It's extremely industrial. Over 50% of all demand now comes from tech, energy, and infrastructure. Solar PV demand hit 230 million ounces in 2025. That's nearly 20% of global silver use. China alone added 45% more solar capacity in a single year. EVs use double the silver of internal combustion vehicles. The transition to electric is accelerating, and every car, truck, and charging station needs silver. Then layer in data centers, 5G, AI, all power hungry, all requiring silver in conductors, switches, semiconductors. Demand from all of these sectors is not cyclical, it's structural. We can see on the report here, on the global supply, the mining production has been decreasing over the past couple of years. If we look at the silver demand, we can see industrial is increasing. It's not a smooth curve. However, we can see as the industrial demand is increasing over time, so is the silver price. Now here's the kicker. Supply cannot keep up. Global mine production is stuck around 840 million ounces. That's still below the 2016 peak. Ore grades are falling, the top deposits are getting depleted, and over 70% of silver is mined as a byproduct of other metals. That means silver supply doesn't respond to its own price. It depends on copper, lead, and zinc economics. We've had 5 straight years of market deficits. That's over 800 million ounces of cumulative drawdown. COMEX inventories at near 15-year lows. ETFs are absorbing physical. Supply isn't growing, and what's left is being drained. Gold is being accumulated by central banks like never before. Over 1,000 tons a year. But here's the twist. Russia is now buying silver for state reserves. That's the first sovereign accumulation in decades. And if BRICS, China, or others follow, this tiny market explodes. Silver has a long monetary history. It's returning. The gold to silver ratio is still around 70. In inflationary regimes, that compresses. If gold hits 3,700 and we revert to 60 to 1, that's a $60 silver. Here's what the money's doing. Silver ETFs took in about $3 billion in under a year, reversing the outflows from 2022 and 2023. That's institutional capital betting on a macro reversion. Retail is catching on too. Indian silver ETF flows have smashed records. They're buying into new highs, not fading them. And this is a tiny market. 5 to 10 billion of new capital moves the price. That is asymmetric. So let's move on to the charts. This is where it gets interesting. How are we going to trade the information that I just spoke about? Well, I am doing it in the most simple way possible. I have a target of gold of $70 to $80 plus. $70 to $80 is the absolute minimum baseline I am looking for. Ideally, I would like to see silver around $100 to $150 within the next few years. As you can see, I already have a position open. I am in a massive loss of 50 cents, or 50p for my British friends. So why would I buy silver with 0.01 pounds per point? Well, that's obviously a very small size. It's the smallest position size I can possibly get on IG markets. So let's just think about this critically. If I am very bullish on silver and I have capital to work with and I'm using very small position sizes, what is my problem? Well, I actually have none. Let me show you something. So let's go to show and working orders. Now these are all of my pending orders on silver. This might look like a joke to some people, it may look funny, but once I explain it, it will make a lot more sense, and it might even inspire you to trade a little bit differently. So I have orders ranging from 75 all the way down to 40. However, this is all done under a very, very strict risk mandate with a very clear plan. As you can see, all of my what I would consider higher entries are 0.01 pounds per point. So the position size is very small. However, once we get lower, down to around $52, my position size increases to 0.02 pounds per point. Now, the reason I've done this is because I want to prevent what we call a top-heavy trade. I don't want to be in positions all the way up here with what I would consider too large of a position size. I also need to factor in the idea that if I'm holding silver for 1, 2, 3 years potentially, there will become a point where we will see drawdown on silver. I don't want all of these top positions to eat up margin, create higher drawdown than what is necessary. So the higher positions are lower size. As price comes down, I'm triggered into higher sized positions, and the profit from these will offset the higher positions. And this is what we call managing the average price. So right now, my average price is here because this is my only entry. However, if this is triggered as well, my average price will come down halfway in between both entries. And this is what we use to manage dollar cost average or layered or laddered positions. Your average price is essentially where your break-even level is. So if all of my 0.01 positions are in drawdown, that's not a problem, because once my larger positions are triggered, my average price is reduced significantly. So the way I am doing this, I have orders scattered in $2 intervals. So this order here was placed at 58. Then I have one down here at 56, then one here at 54, descending every $2 all the way down to $40. Now you might notice there are positions above that are much further apart. This is a very similar thought process, but a slightly different approach. So why would I want buy orders above where price is if I want to build up a base at a lower price? Well, that's a very fair question, so let me explain. If all of these positions here are triggered, that puts me in a very small overall size. That's fine, that's good, but the privileged problem to have here is the profit will be too small. And I don't want to cap myself. I don't want to be sat in silver at a very, very tiny position size and my target is met in 2 years and I haven't managed to capitalize on the idea fully. So what I've done is placed more buy orders every $5. So every $5 increment, there is another buy order. So we have one here at 75. One at 70, one at 65, one at 60. And again, you will notice these are small position sizes. And these are so, if price comes down, triggers a few of the smaller, higher orders, and then decides to rally, okay, I'll be a little bit annoyed that my larger position sizes aren't active, but at least I know as price is trending and my thesis is coming into play, I will still have room to get triggered into more positions. Now, I'm sure some of people are thinking, James, you're a professional trader, you've been doing this for a while. Why are you using such small sizes? Well, it's as I've already mentioned, I don't know what's going to happen next week. I don't know what's going to happen next month. I don't know where silver will be in the next 6 months. Silver, for all I know, could come back down to 30. I would love that. That would allow me to buy more. But what I need to keep in mind is my capital. That is our job as traders, is to manage drawdown, preserve capital. Our secondary goal is to then grow that capital. As long as your first job is done, we can work on the second job. So by taking care of taking these small position sizes, I am in absolutely no risk of any major drawdown. If price decides to trigger all of these entries, come down, I don't know, let's say 30 to 25, that yes would put me in a drawdown, but that would not hurt me. That wouldn't bother me, it wouldn't phase me, again, because I've kept my sizes small. But what that also allows me to do is have that room to add in again at these lower prices. So rather than going in full risk here, I'm saving that extra capital to then add in if we do get, a quote unquote crash. So in my view, silver is one of the best investments you can make. Now, you may be asking another question is, why am I not actually investing in silver in a portfolio or an investment portfolio? Why am I buying silver on a spread betting account? Well, that's a good question. And this position has two objectives, not just one. This isn't just a trade to profit from. There are two goals here. So the first goal is to get into a profitable position in silver over time. And what that allows me to do is keep my account volatility or my portfolio volatility very low. For example, if I have 3 swing trades that all hit stop loss, bearing in mind I take 1 to 2% risk on each. Worst case, that would be a 6% loss, which would, yes, be a little bit painful. I don't want my portfolio to drop 6% or my P&L curve to drop 6%. So creating this buffer on silver of a long-term play that can just absorb the volatility of a portfolio of active trading, that's perfect. And of course, the second goal is, yes, to profit from the trade. So this is a dual purpose position. It's not just to profit, but it's also not just to keep my portfolio balanced. It's to achieve both goals simultaneously. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my video on silver and why I am going all in, although not actually all in, on silver for 2026 and potentially 2027. I hope you have found some value in this video. If you have, don't forget to drop a like. And of course, subscribe. It does help me out a lot. If you would like to trade side by side with me, learn macros, learn how to trade, follow my trades in real time, click the link in the description. It's also pinned in the comments. You can come and trade with me for only $15. I hope you have a fantastic day. I will speak to you soon, and thank you for watching.